Hello, everyone. My name is Marsh, and welcome to my review of the sixth episode of The Lord of the Rings Rings of Power. Let's jump into it. Now, if you haven't seen the episode yet, this is going to be a spoiler filled review, so feel free to click off this video, go watch the episode, and come back to this video. In the meantime, if you can leave a like and subscribe, that would be much appreciated. But let's jump into what I thought. So, usually I give some pros and some cons, but honestly, I just feel like ranting a bit right now. To be honest, might be the worst episode yet, or it's the episode I liked the least of all. I don't know if it's technically the worst, but I hated it the most, and I kind of dreaded watching it the whole episode and did not enjoy it very much at all. We'll start from the beginning. There's a few things I had issues with. I'll go ahead and lay them out, and then we'll take a look and dissect it all. So, my main issues with the episode come in practicality, dialogue, special effects, and just logic overall. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense based off what they've told us previously and what they're setting up. A lot of things that are done also don't make sense, just like logically with common sense in general. And the dialogue, once again, is very subpar. And usually for the previous episodes, everyone's saying the saving grace is at least it's beautiful. The show looks good. But this is the first episode where I can genuinely say there are multiple parts where I think the special effects actually look terrible, especially at the end. So we'll go ahead and start from the beginning of the episode. We'll just go through it beat by beat, and I'll talk about what parts I didn't enjoy. If I enjoyed any, I'll mention it. But to be honest with this episode, I don't know if I really have any pros because a lot of it was just annoying me the whole time. So this is more of a rant. So I apologize if that's annoying and you don't want to see someone be negative. But honestly, this episode really just makes me want to rant about everything. And so that's what I'm going to do. Starting off, once again, one of the main issues I have with this show is its sense of scale. Everything is just on such a tiny scale for a show with such a big budget. We see like the orc army, for example, and there's just tiny little soldiers. This guy's giving a speech to not a whole army, vast army like Sauron in the Two Towers, for example, but instead he's giving a speech in front of a tree in like a forest to like 20 orcs and one human, because the humans are mixed in apparently, but we don't really see the humans. That's another issue we'll talk about later. Anyways, that's one problem, is the sense of scale and how everything's handled. And just getting to logically how everything's handled as well, there's a lot of stupid things. So, for example, when they're going up on the tower, and we know the previous line, the tower must fall, they said in the previous episode, so they're going to destroy the tower or something and do all of that. Well, we see the tower, the orcs just march straight up to it without like a word. They don't expect like an ambush or something when it's totally quiet and silent. They like I don't know what like the strategy here is. Like Adar is literally like the worst general ever for the most part. He does something somewhat clever later, but it's very still stupid and with multiple ways that he handles things. So they go into the fortress, and the elf guy by himself, of course, sets booby traps that he has to set off and escape with. And it's just like the incompetence of this orc army is just so stupid. I get that they're supposed to be dumb, but at the same time, they're supposed to like be brutal and have this strength to them, but it's not really there at all. So we get some really bad acting and special effects. This is where they start to actually look bad, which is surprising with the $1 million budget that they have. The most expensive TV show ever. But he shoots one of the parts that was blatantly horrible. The elf shoots one of the orcs, and the orc literally is facing him. He gets shot. He straightens his body up, turns, and then falls and breaks like a pylon and goes out and gives like a bad Wilhelm scream. It's like, really? Like you could have at least made it like quicker where it's like, and he falls off, but he was literally like, boom, 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 fall. Like, come on. It's so bad. And then like when he shoots the fire arrow at the tower, the wood looks everything looks so fake. The use of practical effects is not there enough. It seems like they did a lot of stuff and they're like, we'll fix it in post. We'll do it in post with the special effects. We'll do this, we'll do that. But they didn't set it up to where it's going to look good on its own value, and you use special effects to enhance it. They're depending on the special effects. And so we see the tower fall, it traps all of them, and somehow the whole orc army survives, even though we see all the lights go out in their army from far away, which is also dumb because we see all the villagers cheering. They're like, woohoo, we did it. No, you guys didn't do anything. The elf guy did everything. Like, I'm very cynical right now. But, and then instead of like continuing to escape, they're like, let's hunker down in this little tiny village here, because that's a great idea. So they go to hunker down in the village. We cut over to like Galadriel and Isildur, and we see Isildur going to the horses and feeding them an apple, whatever. He's like bonding with the horses, that's fine. And then he goes on top of the ship, and just once again, really bad dialogue between the two of them, looking at like the sunset and things like that. She's like, what happened to your mother? Who are you? And she's like, why are you talking to this random stable boy? You ignore everyone else on the ship, but you're going to talk to him out of like nowhere. And it's just so unpractical. And I feel like half the time with their dialogue, they're trying to say all this deep stuff and make everything seem like a quotable moment, and they're throwing so much crap at the wall hoping that some of it sticks, and hardly any of it is landing. It's just really like cheesy and bad for the most part. But we get past that. There was a decent line with Elendil, and when he's talking about like something about darkness or whatever, and then he just says my mother, or she died or something like that, or she drowned, and walks away. I guess that's a decent way to handle talking about the death of the Isildur's mother, but we don't really find out about her, and that was never really an issue about his mother in previous episodes. They never set that up, so I don't know why they're trying to set this up now all of a sudden to give some emotional background. Anyways, we go back to the village. They're hunkering down. They decide to make a plan where they're going to ambush all the orcs and hunker down in a village, which is one of the stupidest things I think you can do. You should probably just keep moving, because they're a whole army on foot. You're a whole village on foot. Keep walking. You're already like miles and miles ahead of them. Keep going, escaping, find somewhere else. You're going to the only village with like 3 buildings to defend yourself. It's just really dumb. And so they lock themselves up in there. And then we're trying to get some emotional moments between the elf guy and Bronwyn, and they never built anything up. Yeah, we're on the 6th episode, but they split up all the storylines in the first 5 episodes to divide everything. So really, if we got 1/3 of the storyline for them two, then it's like we have 3 episodes worth of like relationship building for them, even less, because Bronwyn wasn't mentioned for like 2 episodes while the elf was captured. So we got like one full episode if it was just them worth of like building up their relationship, which they haven't done at all. They haven't shown us why they fell in love, anything like that. They're just 2 horny elves and humans that are like getting together, whatever. So that happens. And then they have their stupid emotional speech, which isn't emotional at all. One other thing I want to mention that I really hate about this show, I mentioned it in the first 2 episode reviews. They love to use the soundtrack to tell you what emotion you're supposed to be feeling. They never let a scene just be silent and live in the moment. They're always making that soundtrack almost louder than the voices sometimes. And it's like, this is a sad moment. Let's cue sad music. We're in the middle of a battle. Tense music. Like, they never let ambiance be a thing in the show, which is more of a sound thing and an editing thing that I really hate with what they're doing. I think it's more of an amateur thing, though. They're afraid to let their dialogue speak for themselves, and so they're letting the music take over to tell you what emotions you should feel. Anyways, they make the plan. They're like, all the people who can't fight, go in the cottage, and you're the last stand. You're going to just be trapped in there to die, basically, if the orcs come. And then she tells Theo, she's like, you got to go in there and protect them, because you can't fight, but you're going to protect all of them. Really stupid, but she's allowed out there, because she really has more combat experience than Theo. She's literally never fought in her life. All she did was run out into a forest with a sickle while Theo was running away with the elf dude. Like, what fighting have we seen to make her competent, aside from the writers making her competent with their choices and giving her these speeches that no one cares about? It's so dumb, the way that they just try to like give validation to characters that have not earned anything. It's annoying at this point, and honestly, I'm just like extremely soured on the show. it had a slow start at the beginning, and everyone's like, oh, maybe it'll get better, but honestly, it hasn't. And I'm tired of like giving excuses for it. Until they actually get better, I'm just gonna start ripping into the show because it's starting to piss me off. Not piss me off to ruin my day, but just it's annoying, especially when they're gonna seek praise and then they're gonna blame people and fandoms, and they're gonna say Tolkien fans are saying this and that just because they don't like certain things, when really it's just their bad writing and they're not really competent. Anyways, they hunker down, they make their plan. Here come the stupid orcs. How incompetent are these orcs? They're marching in. You see a village with 3 houses. You burnt the other village down, no problem. But you don't want to burn this village down? Literally, burn down the houses. Why? And then you don't need to worry about anyone being inside them and hiding. Catch them on fire. They're literally made of like thatch. They'll go up in like a second. Burn down the cottage. Kill all the people. You don't care about the humans anyways. Just kill them. Like, there's like 10 humans in this whole country apparently. So, like, you might as well kill them. There's no point in keeping them alive. But no, we see them march in, all slow, doing their stupid chanting, and and then they get trapped by like 2 carriages, I guess, and start getting shot at by the arrows. The battle happens. All these people and orcs start fighting. The orcs eventually lose. Another stupid thing was like the elves fight with the orc. It was just really dumb. Like, they did the stereotypical bad guy thing where this intimidating big bad guy, instead of choking you or killing you, I'm going to just keep grabbing you and throwing you against walls, grabbing you and throwing you against walls. No, in a real fight, grab, kill. Why does the orc not have a weapon either? He literally walked up to him and he's like, he grabbed him, threw him against a wall. And of course, it was super predictable. Of course, Bronwyn was going to come save him. I literally like thought that in my head the moment before he was even pinned. I'm like, Bronwyn's going to come kill the orc from behind and save him. And it happens. Anyways, they think they kill all the orcs, and then they look at the helmets and stuff, and they lift them up, and they see that there's humans. Main problem I have with this, guess what? The scene before, when you see all the orcs marching in, and even the scene where you see all the orcs getting shots fired at them, there's no orcs with those type of helmets. All of the orcs are showing their face. There's no human faces. So all of a sudden, these dead people with helmets and faces covered show up that are humans, when literally in the previous scenes of the fight, if you actually look at the faces, I don't know if you could even find a single human in the army that was there. There is literally none. They showed all the orc faces. They didn't even have the skull people, like the skull helmets on, because it's nighttime. They don't need to hide. So where did these human bodies come from? They put it through after the fact. They didn't want to actually do it during the battle scene because they're lazy and they're really bad at directing. And then, of course, the whole point of them sacrificing the humans was to draw the actual humans hiding out so that the rest of the orc army can kill them. They do that. They go in. And, you know, if they burn down the building, they wouldn't have to worry about this hostage situation. Yeah, they wouldn't know where the sword's at, but they can find it in all the rubble. But they do that. And then, of course, here comes Numenor to save the day. And just like, first off, how does Numenor know where to go? In all of Middle Earth, you land in the perfect spot. You know exactly where the orcs are going to fight and exactly where they're attacking. And so you know the exact tiny village with 3 buildings to go marching to find them. Okay, that makes sense. They rush through, and I guess the Numenorians are incompetent too because they can't handle a little orc horde. Like, rush through with your swords on your horses, do a charge, regroup, charge back through, kill them. And before the Numenorians arrive, though, Adar gives the blade to the weird human that we don't even know the name of that betrayed the humans, and he's like faithful to Sauron. That human goes to unlock everything at the fortress, gets there really quickly, so I guess the fortress isn't that far away. So I don't know why it took over a day for the orcs to come get them when they could have just gone straight and got them before they even prepared for an ambush. Another issue. Doesn't make sense. Anyways, all that happens. Galadriel chases the elf dude, and of course Halbrand chases the elf dude as well. And they go to kill him, and totally not Sauron, Halbrand is about to kill him, and Galadriel's like, no, don't do it, you're a better person. And then it flips the role, and when they have him captured in the barn, they do the same thing. They get the stupid hilt, or they think they got the hilt. They never decided to check the package, and the crazy sacred item that they're trying to chase them for, they never decided to check if it was there. Instead of just a hammer and a piece of cloth, which is so dumb. So dumb. No one in all those hours of capturing the dude decided to check the wrapping to see if the hilt's actually there. Anyways, they capture all the orcs, beat them after showing total incompetence. They should have honestly destroyed them. Those orcs like didn't know what they were doing half the time, and you're on a bunch of horses doing a cavalry charge and you can't beat them. Whatever. You could tell it's like the stupidity is bothering me. And then the old dude, he unlocks the thing, and apparently it's a dam. And this is why they were building tunnels, so they could have the dam route over to Mount Doom and cause the volcano to erupt, the resting volcano. The main issue I have with this is, what was the whole point of the dam if you needed to build tunnels? If the whole point of the dam was it for it to be a key to unlock Mount Doom by the flood going into the volcano, then why did you need to build the tunnels? If you think if Sauron got the blade at one point and unlocked it, it would have already had a tunnel system going straight there to make Mount Doom erupt. And how would they know to build the tunnels from there to Mount Doom? How does the elf know that? When did he discuss this with anyone? It's just so dumb. And that is... Then we see the eruption, and this is some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. They had like all these meteors coming down, or not meteors, but rubble and explosions and all these rocks coming down, these molten rocks. And it looked so bad. You could tell it was so fake. Usually if there's an explosion, they do the explosion with real effects, and they bring the dirt up and they make a crater after the explosion. But no, it literally looked like they filmed everything. They did the explosions afterwards, and they didn't even bother to make it look good. It genuinely looked like it was like a RTX Minecraft, like lava explosion. Like, what is this? It looked so genuinely bad, especially when the smoke was coming on. You see all the fake lightning, and then of course Galadriel's just standing there like a stupid person, just staring, like intimidating, like she's gonna stop a whole eruption. She's immune to fire all of a sudden when everyone else is dying. Like, I can't with this show. I'm just so done with it. I'm gonna continue watching the episodes because it's Lord of the Rings, but genuinely, these directors and producers are so incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. It feels like a college is trying to do an adaptation of a Lord of the Rings material and failing massively. The way the dialogue is, the whole fact that they can't even put in the practical effects. You knew if someone was experienced on their team with this kind of stuff, they would know you have to make it look real with real explosions. You can't just do everything post. You can't fix it with post every time. Post is to enhance. It's not to do everything. Yeah. So that's what happens. We'll go into the next episode and whatever. I don't care. Oh, not to mention how Brian apparently, this is like a ghetto Return of the King. He has his moment, like, you're the king who's meant for us? Like, how do all these stupid villagers know about a king? It's been like 300 years. Like, and they remember like a king that's missing? Even then, if they remembered it, like, he's just secondhand Aragorn. But he's going to be a Sauron. So he's secondhand Aragorn Sauron. Like, it's so bad. But if you enjoyed it somehow, tell me why I'm wrong. And if you didn't enjoy it and you agree with me, feel free to let me know what you disliked about the episode. Other than that, though, if you can like this video and subscribe, that'd be great. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.